Hi students and developers. Today we would like to discuss three more interview questions. What is namespace? What is binding? And types of bindings. Okay. Previous session we discussed structures. What is the use of constructor, structure and class, that things. Now we are coming into the what is namespace? Namespace means what it is. It is a logical container which can contain the classes, interfaces, enums, delegates, structures, properties, extra. Yeah, okay. With the help of this namespace, we can avoid name collisions. Namespace can contain another namespace also. Yeah. Coming to the first point, it is a logical container which can contain classes, interfaces, enums, and delegates and structures. For example, namespace in the sense it is a wrapper on top of a class. I mean, on top of a class or interface and enums and delegates and structure. In before videos, we discuss what is a class. Class is a container for properties, methods, variables, these things. And like that, it is a namespace. Class is compared to class namespace scope is very bigger. It's contain classes, interfaces, enums, delegates, and structures. These many items which contain. Yeah, it's a very bigger one. So that what happened with help of namespace, we can avoid the name collisions. For example, your class has you have in your project you have two or three classes with same name, so that you can avoid the name collisions by placing these class into different namespaces. Yeah, that is the one way. And namespace contain another namespace also. Class can contain one another class, like that also namespace contain within a namespace we are able to uh, declare another namespace. Yeah, this is what about namespace. What is binding? Replacing the method invocation with its appropriate base reference is called binding or linking. Everything is binding. For example, if you take method calling mechanisms, these all are comes into the binding. Why? Because we are binding and we are calling the methods. This is called binding. Replacing the method invocation with its appropriate base reference is called binding or linking. Coming into the how many types of bindings are available? There are two types of bindings: static binding, dynamic binding. What is static binding? If the binding process has been carried out during the compilation, it's called static binding. That means whenever you compile the application, uh, at the time binding process, this method call is this method call is binding to its method definition. That binding is happened at compile time is called static binding. Dynamic binding, if the binding process has been carried out at the time of running the application, then it's called dynamic binding. This process has happened at the time of running the application. This is called dynamic binding. Yeah, coming to the once again namespace example. Here you see namespace, population namespace. Here in that namespace, we have a public struct person and structure related things. If you want, you can declare one class in this namespace, one enum in this space namespace, one delegate in this namespace. You can define like this. Thank you. If you like my videos, please subscribe my channel. If you want to go through more interview questions on .NET concept, please visit my blog.